28 NASDAQ futures up 60.
You say you'll never forget where you were when you heard the news on September 11th, 2001. Neither will I.
Here at the top of this tower, there's a huge gaping hole.
I was on the 110th floor in a smoke-filled room with a man who called his wife to say goodbye. I held his fingers steady as he dialed. I gave him the piece to say, "Honey, I'm not going to make it. But it's okay, I'm ready to go." I was with his wife when he called as she fed breakfast to their children. I held her up as she tried to understand his words. And as she realized he wasn't coming home that night. I was in the stairwell of the 23rd floor when a woman cried out to me for help. "I've been knocking on the door of your heart for 50 years. I said, "Of course, I'll show you the way home. Only believe in me now." I was at the base of the building when the priest ministered to the injured and devastated souls. I took him home to tend his flock in heaven. He heard my voice and answered. I was on all 4 of those planes, in every seat, with every prayer. I was with the crew as they were overtaken. I was in the very hearts of the believers there, comforting and assuring them that their faith has saved them. I was in Texas, Kansas, London. I was standing next to you when you heard the terrible news. Did you sense me? I want you to know that I saw every face. I knew every name, though not all know me. Some met me for the first time on the 86th floor. Some sought me with their last breath. Some couldn't hear me calling to them through the smoke and flames. "Come to me, this way, take my hand." Some chose, for the final time, to ignore me. But I was there. I did not place you in the tower that day. You may not know why, but I do. However, if you were there in that explosive moment in time, would you have reached for me? September 11th, 2001 was not the end of the journey for you. But someday your journey will end, and I'll be there for you as well. Seek me now while I may be found. Then, at any moment, you know you're ready to go. I will be in the stairwell of your final moments. Remember, I love you.
Hello to you all. This is RHTVLive that you're watching. We're doing a 9/11 special, streaming from Maastricht, which is in the south of the Netherlands. Hallo allemaal. Daar zijn we er weer, RHTVLive. Ja, vanuit het mooie Maastricht. En 9/11 heeft ons allemaal aangegrepen. Ja. En heel veel mensen kijken daar nog steeds van weg. Ja, en we kunnen het even in 5 minuten uitleggen wat 9/11 nou precies inhoudt.
On the morning of September 11th, 2001, 19 men armed with box cutters directed by a man on dialysis in a cave fortress halfway around the world using a satellite phone and a laptop directed the most sophisticated penetration of the most heavily defended airspace in the world, overpowering the passengers and the military combat-trained pilots on 4 commercial aircraft before flying those planes wildly off course for over an hour without being molested by a single fighter interceptor. These 19 hijackers, devout religious fundamentalists who like to drink alcohol, snort cocaine, and live with pink-haired strippers, managed to knock down 3 buildings with 2 planes in New York, while in Washington a pilot who couldn't handle a single-engine Cessna was able to fly a 757 in an 8,000-foot descending 270-degree corkscrew turn to come exactly level with the ground, hitting the Pentagon in the Budget Analyst Office where DoD staffers were working on the mystery of the $2.3 trillion that Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld had announced missing from the Pentagon's coffers in a press conference the day before, on September 10th, 2001. Luckily, the news anchors knew who did it within minutes.
Osama bin Laden.
The pundits knew within hours.
Osama bin Laden.
The administration knew within the day.
Terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbored them.
And the evidence literally fell into the FBI's lap.
That a hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
But for some reason, a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists demanded an investigation into the greatest attack on American soil in history. That investigation was delayed, underfunded, set up to fail, a conflict of interest, and a cover-up from start to finish. It was based on testimony extracted through torture, the records of which were destroyed. It failed.
Eventjes een pauze, want ik zie dat er echo is. Ja, dus. Zo. Nee.
Failed to mention the existence of WTC-7, Able Danger, P-TECH, Sibel Edmonds, OBL and the CIA, and the drills of hijacked aircraft being flown into buildings that were being simulated at the precise same time that those events were actually happening. It was lied to by the Pentagon, the CIA, the Bush administration, and as for Bush and Cheney, well, no one knows what they told it because they testified in secret, off the record, not under oath, and behind closed doors. It didn't bother to look at who funded the attacks because that question is ultimately of little practical significance. Still, the 9/11 Commission did brilliantly answering all of the questions the public had, except most of the victims' family members' questions, and pinned blame on all the people responsible, although no one so much as lost their job, determining the attacks were
failure of imagination.
Because
Nobody in our government, at least, and I don't think the prior government that could envision flying airplanes into buildings.
Except the Pentagon, FEMA, NORAD, and the NRO. The DIA destroyed 2.5 terabytes of data on Able Danger, but that's okay because it probably wasn't important. The SEC destroyed their records on the investigation into the insider trading before the attacks, but that's okay because destroying the records of the largest investigation in SEC history is just part of routine record keeping. NIST has classified the data that they used for their model of WTC-7's collapse, but that's okay because knowing how they made their model of the collapse would jeopardize public safety. The FBI has argued that all material related to their investigation of 9/11 should be kept secret from the public, but that's okay because the FBI probably has nothing to hide. This man never existed, nor is anything he had to say worthy of your attention, and if you say otherwise, you are a paranoid conspiracy theorist and deserve to be shunned by all of humanity. Likewise him, and her, and her, and her, and him. Osama bin Laden lived in a cave fortress in the hills of Afghanistan, but somehow got away. Then he was hiding out in Tora Bora, but somehow got away. Then he lived in Abbottabad for years, taunting the most comprehensive intelligence dragnet employing the most sophisticated technology in the history of the world for a decade, releasing video after video with complete impunity and getting younger and younger as he did so, before finally being found in a daring SEAL team raid which wasn't recorded on video, in which he didn't resist or use his wife as a human shield, and in which these crack special forces operatives panicked and killed this unarmed man, supposedly the best source of intelligence about those dastardly terrorists on the entire planet. Then they dumped his body in the ocean before telling anyone about it. Then a couple dozen of that team's members died in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. This is the story of 9/11, brought to you by the media which told you the hard truths about...
His head could be seen to move violently forward.
And...
They took the babies out of the incubators.
And...
Mobile production facilities.
And...
The rescue of Jessica Lynch.
If you have any questions about this story, you are a batshit paranoid tinfoil dog-abusing baby hater and will be reviled by everyone. If you love your country and or freedom, happiness, rainbows, rock and roll, puppy dogs, apple pie, and your grandma, you will never ever express doubts about any part of this story to anyone. Ever. This has been a public service announcement by the Friends of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DIA, SEC, MSM, White House, NIST, and the 9/11 Commission. Because ignorance is strength.
Dus, we're finished. We're finished. RHTVLive is finished. You know, it's explained from A to Z, and we're finished. Yep. But of course, we have more information. Ja, we hebben nog meer informatie, mensen. Want wisten jullie dat in 1962 een bepaald document naar voren kwam? In 1962 there was a document and they kept it secret. Yeah. Which document? What am I talking about? Well, we have Operation Northwoods. Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation against American citizens that originated within the U.S. Department of Defense of the United States government in 1962. The proposals called for CIA operatives to both stage and actually commit acts of nonviolent terrorism against American military and civilian targets, blaming them on the Cuban government and using it to justify a war against Cuba. Yeah. Kennedy saw this on the table and he was like, screw you, we're not going to do this. You are all fired. Lemnitzer, you're fired. You are fired. You are fired. You are fired. Alan Dulles, you are fired. You know, so he fired a lot of chiefs of staff and stuff like that. You know, this guy Lyman Lemnitzer was also involved in Operation Gladio. You know, Operation Gladio? Well, the word stay behind paramilitary networks, right? And they were assigned by the CIA to destabilize parts of Europe, such as Italy and other European countries, to blame them on communists. Yeah, the communists, oh, they're bad, yep, they're bad, even though we attacked ourselves, right? Such as Operation Northwoods would suggest, you know? So take that as what it is, basically a false flag operation, right? So we're going to clear the air here on what happened during 9/11, right? We gaan even de lucht verschonen. Wat 9/11 betreft, we gaan even dieper erop in. Stil kat, stil. We weten dat Afghanistan, zoals vanmiddag al gezegd, gedestabiliseerd wordt. En dat gebeurt al een hele lange tijd. Als we terugkijken in geschiedenis van Afghanistan, dan zien we dus de Afghan-Anglo War. So, Anglo-Afghan War. Yeah. So, first Anglo-Afghan War, 1839 to 1842. The second Anglo-Afghan War, 1878-1880. Siege of Makran and Trade Campaign, 1897. Third Anglo-Afghan War, 1919. Operation Herrick and Operation Toro were in recent years. So we're going to look at the first Anglo-Afghan War, right? So there was basically a warlord, a religious warlord, and the English wanted them out of Afghanistan, right? Because there was a secret war going on between England and Russia, right? The Russian threat was that they were expanding throughout the region, right? And they also had their eyes set on Afghanistan. Now, India was part of England, the Commonwealth of England, and Pakistan was not there yet, was not a country yet. So the English went to Afghanistan to see about the Russians, you know, they were spying on each other. The Great Game, it's called. So this is what was happening. Afghanistan was per proxy, basically, besieged by the English for three times, and the English lost all three, right? And then they lost territory in India, Gandhi and all that, you know. This is how Pakistan became a country. So, we have some history here, right? Now, what happened during the 1970s? Wat is er in de eind jaren 70 gebeurd? Rusland valt Afghanistan binnen. Ja, zoals al gezegd, de Engelsen die hadden al met India een beetje een strijd om Afghanistan, om invloed daar zo te krijgen. En ze gingen elkaar bespioneren en zoiets, de Great Game. Dus erg interessant om de achtergrond te weten, wat er allemaal in Afghanistan gebeurde. Maar goed, jaren 80, Rusland valt Afghanistan binnen. Of ja, eind jaren 70, 78 tot 84, geloof ik, of 85, rond die tijd. Maar ja, dat is dus allemaal gebeurd, mensen. Ik verzin het niet, ik verzin het niet. En waarom hebben we het over Afghanistan? Nou, dat is een belangrijk land wat 9/11 betreft. Want 9/11 werd dus gedaan in Amerika. Maar in Afghanistan had je dus de Taliban daar aan de macht destijds. De Mujahideen, ja, we leggen het allemaal stuk voor stuk uit. De Mujahideen, dat werd dus gecreëerd door Zbigniew Brzezinski. Ja, hier hebben we hem. Zbigniew Brzezinski, he created the Mujahideen, the so-called freedom fighters in Afghanistan. And they were fending off the Russians. So we're going to take a look at one of the 9/11 suspects, Zbigniew Brzezinski. Basically, he made the proxies such as the Taliban, Northern Alliance, and also Al-Qaeda.
So we're not there to achieve a defeat. And so we want some sort of a success. The words I have always used in addressing this issue and in many discussions in which I've been involved is we want a politically acceptable outcome. We want a politically acceptable outcome. That to me means it's something we can live with in terms of our national interest. It's something that is, in my judgment, attainable in the regional context. And it is something which specifically reduces the risks posed to us by Al-Qaeda.
Do you think a full-blown counterinsurgency effort could actually work? Would you see a Western-style democracy flourish in Afghanistan?
Excuse me for laughing, but I mean the combination of the two I just find bizarre. And it's so ahistorical. A foreign operation tends to mobilize opposition. And the more intense and large scale it is, the larger the opposition becomes. And therefore...
Nou, ik zie weer dat er echo is. Ja.
When we talk about counterinsurgency, we have to feed into the equation how will the people in that country react at some point if we become the principal mechanism for the counterinsurgency. In other words, if Afghans are fighting the Taliban, counterinsurgency can succeed. If we are fighting the Taliban, the chances are that if we give 40,000 more troops for counterinsurgency against the existing levels of the Taliban, in a year from now, we may be fighting Taliban levels that are 25% higher. And then we have to send more troops in, etc., etc.
Could a further buildup in Afghanistan lead to this being Obama's Vietnam?
Well, if we pursue wrong policies, you can call it Obama's Vietnam, you can call it anything else, or it might be something quite new, but it'll still be pretty bad. When we were
Now, this is not Obama's Vietnam. Okay? It was George Bush who attacked Afghanistan. Not Obama. He inherited this war from the Bush period. Right? So let's focus on that.
went into Afghanistan 8 years ago to overthrow the Taliban after 9/11. We did it largely with some Air Force, 300 Special Forces, and Afghans who were enthusiastically on our side because they viewed us as the people who helped them against the Soviets. We overthrew the Taliban quickly. Now, 8 years later, we have 60,000 American troops plus 40,000 NATO troops, and our military commanders are telling us that we're not winning. What does that tell you? Whence the resistance? Obviously, it's from the Taliban, but Afghans who increasingly somehow identify themselves with something that they were pleased to see that they were pleased to see being overthrown 8 years ago. That's a bad trend.
Does it look to you like a similar trend that the Soviet Union followed in Afghanistan?
Oh, I've been saying that exactly for the last 3 years. I've been saying the Soviets went into Afghanistan on the erroneous assumption that using communists, Afghan communists, from the big cities, they could create a communist society in Afghanistan. And they did.
And that was the reason why de US was there. You know, dat is de reden waarom Amerika daar was. Ja, ook om de grondstoffen. Hè? Dus Afghanistan is rijk aan grondstoffen. Diamant, zilver, goud, noem het allemaal op. Dat hebben ze allemaal wel. Dus, en opium, ja, opium ook erg belangrijk. Hè? De opiumproductie is erg gestegen. En ja, toch wel heel erg triest wat er allemaal gebeurt. Dus, we hebben Zbigniew Brzezinski, die geeft eventjes uitleg aan hoe hij de situatie ziet op het schaakbord. Want zo zien zij dit, een schaakbord. Gebieden om over te nemen en noem het dan maar op. Dus, they see this as a chessboard, you know. And there was a pipeline, the Tapi pipeline, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India, the Tapi pipeline. And Karzai was he was a president of Afghanistan, and he also worked for an oil company who was affiliated with the pipeline. So that is also something to keep in the background, right? Dus er speelt veel meer dan ons verteld wordt. Ja. Dus there's a lot more going on than we are told. Afghanistan, that was an illegal intervention, right? It was not Obama, it was Bush who intervened in Afghanistan. And the country is still broken because the Taliban is in power over there. Now, let's see, 9/11. Let's see if we have some live streams. Live stream. There. Let's see what the situation is in New York at the memorial of 9/11.
You is our uncle. We know you are always watching over us. Thank you for being our guardian angel and hero.
And my brother from Local 3, James Marcel Cartier. Local 3 lost 17 members that day. God bless Local 3. God bless America. Lester Marino, Tommy Ashton, and a very good friend of mine's dad, Kenneth Watson. God bless America.
This is the day we're not supposed to talk about, right? Because we have to believe what the government tells us to believe. We have to believe that World Trade Center 7 fell because of fire. We have to believe that. We have to believe that. Otherwise, you're an enemy of the state. Well, I don't believe it. I do not believe it. What I do believe is that a structural reevaluation of the collapse of World Trade Center 7, I think this is more honest than the NIST report, right? So we're going to take a look at the conclusion of the report. The principal conclusion of our study is that fire did not cause the collapse of WTC-7 on 9/11, contrary to the conclusion of NIST and private engineering firms that studied the collapse. The secondary conclusion of our study is that the collapse of World Trade Center 7 was a global failure involving the near simultaneous failure of every column in the building. There you go. And this is what we see. This is what we see. You can also download the full report. It's pretty interesting to see, right? So this is the Institute of Northern Engineering, University of Alaska Fairbanks, that comes to this conclusion. And do not let your eyes deceive what's happening here. We're going to take a look at the collapse of World Trade Center 7, which was not hit by a plane. It was so-called debris that structurally, I don't know, weakened the building or whatever. And they say it's fire. So we have to believe the government, right?
The second building collapsed. He came out 20 minutes later, looking like a Three Stooges movie covered in plastic. I swear to God. What do you got good shit, man? That's the good shit. Then we went back there. Whoa!
So there you go. We're supposed to believe that that was because of fire, right? And this guy here is playing chess because he was in Afghanistan, or actually near Afghanistan. He said, God is on your side. Is on your side. Zbigniew Brzezinski to the Mujahideen, which he just admitted to making, right? Here you guys go.
U.S. National Security Advisor Brzezinski flew to Pakistan to set about rallying resistance. He wanted to arm the Mujahideen without revealing America's role. On the Afghan border near the Khyber Pass, he urged the soldiers of God to redouble their efforts.
We know of their deep belief in God, and we are confident that their struggle will succeed. That land over there is yours. You'll go back to it one day because your fight will prevail and you'll have your homes and your mosques back again because your cause is right and God is on your side.
The purpose of coordinating with the Pakistanis will be to make the Soviets bleed for as much and as long
as possible. So that was the intention of the U.S.
I think we've had a very rich and very lively.
It's also very interesting what Zbigniew Brzezinski says about Ukraine, but we're not going to touch upon that yet because there's a lot to tell, right? So basically, there's a secret war going on between Russia and the Western powers, so-called Western powers, right? The EU and also the US, Canada. So this is what's going on. The playing field has changed, right? The European Union has expanded. Ja, de Europese Unie is alleen maar groter geworden. En we zitten vlak tegen de Russische grens. We hebben al hier zo die landen, Estonië, Latvia en Litouwenië, hebben bij de Europese Unie. Finland zit al aan de grens van Rusland met NATO. En ja, ondertussen is er ook nog een oorlog in Oekraïne. There's also a war in Ukraine, right? So this is how they're attacking Russia. Now, we have to stay on topic, right? 9/11. These are ripple effects of 9/11. So we're going to take a look at this film here. Oops. I need sound. Wait. Sound. Where's the sound? Let's see if we can. Waar is het geluid nou weer? Vaag. Ineens is er geen geluid. There's no sound. Suddenly, there's no sound. Right? So he basically talks about Project Hammer, which, why is there no sound? Let's see if we can, 9/11, conspiracy solved.
In September 1991, shortly after the end of the Cold War, a cabal of elite bankers and intelligence spooks led by George H.W. Bush.
Oh. Ik moet natuurlijk wel even de microfoon uitzetten.
Financed a $240 billion covert operations war chest through the purchase of 10-year securities that, as it happened, were scheduled to come due on September 12, 2001. Project Hammer was undoubtedly used for a wide variety of illicit intelligence operations, but mainly it was used to finance a covert economic operation against the collapsing Soviet Union, whereby unknown Western investors bought up much of the Soviet industry with a focus on oil and gas, crashing the Russian economy, looting its central bank, orchestrating what became known as the Great Ruble Scam, and a wide variety of other clandestine, state-assisted operations designed to thoroughly prevent Russia from ever contesting the U.S. as a world superpower, while in the process lining the pockets of these economic hitmen who swooped in to devour the collapsing Russian economy after the fall of the Soviet Union. A spectacular investment for all. at least until money laundering investigations began tracing all the money, or when the 10-year deadline came up and the securities became due and began the routine process of authenticity and ownership checks. Evidence shows that several federal and private investigations had already stumbled upon the Hammer Fund and were compiling evidence on it up until the 9/11 attacks. These included the Office of Naval Intelligence, or ONI, which was moved to the outer E-ring of the recently renovated section of the Pentagon that was targeted and destroyed on 9/11. According to E.P. Heidner, the ONI had been investigating crimes associated with the plundering of Russia. 39 out of the 40 people who worked in those offices were killed on 9/11, including the entire chain of command. The Pentagon's financial accounting offices in that same wing were also an obvious target, as were the passengers on board Flight 77, many of whom coincidentally held top-secret clearances and were connected with Pentagon black operations. Agents of the Office of Naval Intelligence had also been investigating financial transactions which were linked to securities being managed by those securities dealers in the World Trade Center that were also targeted. 31% of the 125 fatalities in the Pentagon were from the Naval Command Center that housed the Office of Naval Intelligence. 41% of the fatalities in the Twin Towers came from two companies that managed U.S. government securities, Cantor Fitzgerald and Eurobrokers. There were three major security brokers in the World Trade Center: Cantor Fitzgerald, Eurobrokers, and Garbin Intercapital. At 8:46 on the morning of September 11th, Flight 11 flew directly into Marshall McLennan's secure computer room in the North Tower, right below the floor on which Cantor Fitzgerald was situated. Cantor Fitzgerald was the largest security dealer in the U.S. Shortly after that, a massive explosion went off just under the FBI offices in the North Tower on the 23rd floor. Fires were reported on the 22nd floor at 8:47. There were also explosions and subsequent fires reported at Garbin Intercapital on the 25th floor and in the basement of Tower 1 as well. Shortly thereafter, at 9:03, Flight 175 hit the South Tower right below the floors on which Eurobrokers was situated. In all three cases, the explosive, fiery destruction consumed the offices and the several floors above, destroying files and trapping victims inside. In the midst of all this, Building 6 was destroyed by an explosion that took place before either tower fell. This secondary explosion took out a portion of the building which just happened to include the El Dorado Task Force's offices. The El Dorado Task Force was an interagency money laundering watchdog group responsible for coordinating all major money laundering investigations in the U.S. In the immediate aftermath of September 11th, these groups would be redirected to investigate terrorist financing. Building 6 was located directly between the North Tower and World Trade Center Building 7. While large portions of World Trade Center 6 were gutted by explosions and later by falling debris from the North Tower, the building itself did not suffer a global symmetric collapse at near freefall acceleration as did Buildings 1, 2, and 7. FEMA photographer and 9/11 whistleblower Kurt Sonnenfeld took some interesting pictures of the U.S. Customs vault in the basement of World Trade Center 6, which was found completely empty and left with the door wide open. All of its contents appear to have been looted during the attacks. There is also evidence that gold was being looted from the vaults beneath World Trade Center 4. There were several early reports of a 10-wheel truck packed with stolen bullion caught fleeing World Trade Center 5 when the vehicle had become stuck on a collapsed ceiling brace, forcing the driver to flee the scene. Many researchers have stumbled across one or two of these anomalies from time to time: the empty vaults, the secondary explosions, the fireproofing upgrades on the exact floors coinciding with failure and impact in the towers, the suspicious power downs and evacuation drills, the World Trade Center tenants and security firms like AIG, Marsh & McLennan, and Kroll, and their close ties with the intelligence community, etc., etc. These anomalies are not unrelated, but nevertheless became lost inside the chaos of that September morn, the aftermath, and subsequent cover-ups. Okay, so what does all this mean? Overall, a critical mass of brokers from the major government security brokerages in the Twin Towers had to be eliminated to create chaos in the government securities market. A situation needed to be created wherein $240 billion of covert securities could be electronically cleared without anyone asking questions, which happened when the Federal Reserve declared an emergency and invoked its emergency powers that very afternoon. On September 14th, the Securities and Exchange Commission declared a national emergency and for the first time in U.S. history invoked its emergency powers under the Securities Exchange Act Section 12K and eased regulatory restrictions for clearing and settling security trades for the next 15 days. These changes would have allowed the estimated $240 billion in covert government securities to be cleared upon maturity without the standard regulatory controls around identification of ownership. The towers needed to be demolished to create a big enough mess that the illicit activities taking place behind the scenes that morning could be hidden in the confusion of that day. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about who did it and how. 9/11 whistleblower Richard Andrew Grove was a software salesperson for a company called Silverstream. Silverstream's technology was on the cutting edge of internet solutions, offering software to web-enable the critical business functions of Fortune 500 companies, basically integrating and making available on the web the disparate legacy applications and mainframes while simultaneously streamlining workflow and traditional paper processes, with an end result being a lower cost of operation and more efficient transactions. Silverstream had built internet transactional and trading platforms for Merrill Lynch, Deutsche Bank, Bankers Trust, Alex Brown, and Morgan Stanley, to name a few. Leading up to 9/11, Silverstream was designing specialized accounting software for a major client, Marsh & McLennan. Marsh is the world's largest insurance brokerage and was located right below Cantor Fitzgerald in the North Tower. Approximately 295 Marsh employees were murdered that morning, along with other innocent victims and employees who either knew too much or too little about their chosen work environment. But most importantly, Silverstream provided a specific type of connectivity that was used to link AIG and Marsh & McLennan, the first two commercial companies on the planet to employ this type of transaction. What then were Marsh and AIG doing, and why did they need to leverage technologies that no other commercial entity on the face of the earth needed to use to conduct business? The recovered hard drives from the World Trade Center, combined with Richard Grove's testimony, give us some intriguing clues. Grove discovered that Silverstream was overbilling Marsh to the tune of $7 million extra for fictitious and unneeded hardware. He also became aware of an exploitable flaw in the accounting software that had been sold to a variety of Marsh's clients and partners. When he brought this up to his superiors at Silverstream and others at Marsh, he was told to keep quiet and not to worry about it. But other friends of his at Marsh were also getting concerned and began documenting what was going on and raising concerns within the company. At last, they were finally granted a hearing with one of Marsh's high-ranking executives and were told to bring all their evidence to a hearing scheduled for 8:30 a.m. on September 11, 2001, on the 93rd floor. The high-ranking member of Marsh, who Grove did not name, would participate via teleconference from the safety of his home, while Marsh employees and potential whistleblowers, Gary Lasko, Catherine Lee, Ken Rice, Richard Breuhardt, and John Oltzhofer, would die in the meeting room in the North Tower with all their evidence when American Airlines Flight 11 would impact that very section of the building. Richard Grove fortunately got stuck in traffic that morning and didn't make it. Computer hard drives recovered from the World Trade Center show a spike in suspicious transfers that took place within the World Trade Center as the 9/11 attacks were unfolding. Richard Grove is convinced that these suspicious money transfers were performed electronically using Silverstream software, and that the overbilling of Marsh was hush money for the operations. It would certainly have helped clear up that $240 billion in securities and make it look like any of those companies might have done it. The recovered hard drives and financial transactions from 9/11 all show clear evidence that something was going on that morning. Marsh's CEO at the time was Jeffrey Greenberg, the son of Maurice Greenberg of AIG. Most insurance companies were hurting badly in late 2001 after $40 billion in insurance settlements had been paid out for the devastation caused by the 9/11 attacks. Yet one insurance company did not suffer quite the same losses as the other companies did. American International Group, or AIG as it turns out, is much more than an insurance company. With its long ties to the intelligence community, AIG was founded by OSS operative Cornelius V. Starr to
Nou, bekijk dat erg interessant. Zo zie je heel veel connecties. Die heeft connectie met die heeft connectie met die. Maar feitelijk ging het om aandelen die dus nagekeken werden. Van Project Hammer. Ja, destabilisatie van Rusland op economisch vlak. Ja, het gaat niet van vandaag tot morgen dat er een unie valt. Ja. Dus ze hebben het economisch aangepakt en ook militair in Afghanistan. Dus Rusland wordt al heel erg lang aangevallen per proxy. En het is niet dat ik Russisch gezind ben, dat ook niet. Maar we bekijken het allemaal objectief. Ja, we're looking at this objectively. We also know that Georgia attacked Russia and not Russia attacking Georgia, right? Let's see. Georgia attacked Russia. Russo-Georgian War. Let's see. Retrospective. There. Let's see. Interview with the. We knew what was coming. Well, we were slow to believe it. So, Radio Free Liberty, Georgian service spoke Daniel Fred. Haven't read the article yet, but Georgia started the war instead of Russia, right? So, looking at these headlines, Putin won't stop in Ukraine. Former NATO Secretary General, you see that they're going to blame Russia for everything. So, it's not Radio Free Liberty, right? Let's see. A former U.S. diplomat with over 40 years of experience serving in senior posts under several U.S. presidents, colleague described as a pragmatist who led efforts to work with Russia as a White House aide under Bill Clinton after the fall of the Berlin Wall, and later when serving George W. Bush. Okay. Oh well. Believe me, Georgia started the war, not Russia. So, I believe there was an EU diplomat who said that. Georgia started the war with Russia. You see, the EU says that, and it comes from Reuters. So there you go, people. There you go. We know what's going on in the world, and that is destabilizing for Russia, right? So, and let's take a look at our so-called friend Brzezinski, what he says about Ukraine. Because we're talking about the Ukraine war. So,
Europe's been working for 50 years to create a United States of Europe, through the European Union. Do you think that's, is that now so questioned because of the turmoil that they're living through, that that's not a reality?
I think a united Europe came into being out of fear. I think that's quite obvious. Not only the war, but the post-war incertitudes and occasional threats. I think that entity is now on the way to a disintegration because the fear is gone. Not necessarily on the part of everybody, but of enough powers in a united Europe for the result to be a disunited Europe. And this particularly pertains to countries like, let's say, Italy, but now increasingly Great Britain, and especially because of its legacy type inclination to stand aside. Now, this is not to say that I welcome this, but there is a certain inevitability to that. Now, if Putin starts another wave of Cold War unilateral actions, they'll probably all come back again in some fashion. Otherwise, it's probably, at least in part, inevitable. Maybe it moved too much, maybe it became too formal. In my own case, in my own personal opinion, it became too broad. I don't want to make public enemies, but I would say there are at least 10 countries in the European Union that we should have never admitted it in the first place. They were neither ready for Europe or had the qualifications necessary to be in Europe. And I don't think that was helpful.
When Russia invaded Crimea, it really
No, wait a minute. That was not an invasion in Crimea, right? Het was geen invasie in de Krim. Nee, sorry. Er was geen invasie in de Krim. Nee. Want we weten, we know that there was a referendum in Crimea. Crimea. There. We know there was a referendum in Crimea, and we know that the population voted to be part of Russia. We know. We know. En referendum, dat woord hebben ze niet zo heel graag in Europa. Want dat maakt Europa kapot. They don't want a referendum within Europe because that breaks up Europe. Remember in 2016, right, we had a referendum in Spain. Yeah. Catalonia independence. So we had a referendum in Spain. In Catalonië hebben ze ook een referendum gehouden om onafhankelijk te zijn van Madrid. Ja. En we gaan even naar wat beelden kijken. Catalonia voting. So we're going to take a look at when people vote during a referendum within the EU, right?
Scuffles have broken out between Spanish police and voters in Catalan's controversial succession referendum. Paramedics are now treating people outside polling stations who've been injured in the scuffles. Elsewhere, people are casting their ballots in some polling stations. Referendum lead.
Oh, dan moet natuurlijk wel de microfoon even uit.
Leaders have urged Catalan voters to use passive resistance if police try to interfere with the vote. Let's go first to Carl Penhall, who is in Barcelona. And Carl, you're at the scene where we saw those scuffles earlier. Behind you, we can see an array of Spanish riot police. What's the situation now?
Well, actually, we've moved to a different location now, Martine, because that is the way that the Spanish National Police are operating right now. They're going to one polling station, trying to shut it down, meeting civil resistance and moving on. Right now, they're outside the education department, but as you can see, they are now starting to move off. And listen to the crowds there. That chant from the crowds, from the pro-secessionist voters, is "Occupation forces, get out." Remember that the Spanish National Riot Police have come from other areas of Spain to Catalonia with a specific order to crack down on this referendum. Now, earlier, a few moments ago, there were cordons, human cordons, around the door, and they dragged and pulled those people away. An ambulance was in attendance. But I'm here with a man called Joseph Lovett. He's a US-trained doctor. Joseph, what has your reaction been today? What has your reaction been?
I mean, this is a terrible thing. It's completely unfair. We are a nation. We want to vote. We will be free. They cannot do that with us. And this is completely outrageous. And I think the international community should react to that. You are decent people. You are honest people. We want our country free. They are gone. It's over.
That was Joseph Lovett. He's a US-trained doctor, but Catalan. He wanted to vote here today. And now the Spanish National Riot Police are withdrawing from this area. Let's see if we can get you a picture. These people coming up now are medics. We have seen at least one person taken away with injuries after scuffles with police. Many people stand.
So now you know what Europe thinks of referendums, right? So there was a referendum in Crimea to join Russia. So we're going to take a look at this here, right?
Действительно, станем процветающим краем.
Crimea is also home to Ukrainians, as well as Crimean Tatars, who account for more than 12% of the population. The Tatars, who are skeptical of Kremlin rule after their deportation under Stalin in the 1940s, largely boycotted the referendum, calling it illegal. US and European Union officials immediately rejected the results after early exit polls, saying the international community should respond with concrete measures against Russia for its violation of Ukraine's sovereignty. Russian troops have been occupying positions across the peninsula since late February. Meanwhile, Ukraine's acting defense minister announced Ukraine and Russia had agreed to a truce until Friday, suggesting Russia wouldn't move to take over Ukrainian bases immediately after the referendum. He suggested a standoff would continue.
Ніхто Крим залишати не буде. Це однозначно. Тому зараз обстановка щодо наших військових частин і блокування нормалізувалася. Я думаю, що як було досягнуто на перемир'ї, до 21 числа вона такою і буде зберігатися.
You see that? You saw that? So 95.5% want to join Russia, right? 3.5% don't want to join Russia, and 1% doesn't know. So an overwhelming majority to join Russia, right? And these are ripple effects of 9/11. You see, we're already past Iraq and Afghanistan. Afghanistan is now ruled by the Taliban, You guys remember that? That Biden left Afghanistan. Bye, we're going to go. We're going to move to Syria, to the north of Syria, right? And we're going to station there, even though the Syrian government did not invite the U.S. So we're beyond the point of Afghanistan, and Iraq is in a power vacuum right now because of our intervention, right? So these are ripple effects of 9/11. After 9/11, you got the overthrow of Tunisian government, the overthrow of Libyan government, the overthrow of Egypt. They tried to overthrow Syria, right? So that's what's been happening. You also have proxies after they won Libya that go into Chad and go into Niger and Burkina Faso and other countries within Africa, right? The whole place is destabilized. Ethiopia, there's a war going on with many rebel factions. The Democratic Republic of the Congo, there's a war going on with proxies supported by Burundi, Rwanda, and Uganda, right? These are ripple effects of 9/11. We must never forget this. Never, ever forget what happened during 9/11, right? You are being deceived. You are being deceived. And every year on this date, we talk about 9/11, about what actually happened during 9/11. So we're going to take a look at Fake Mike Real News, who is in New York right now.
Real news! All right, by the audience watching live and by all these guys, let's see. I'm going to have the best duck face out of everybody. The best duck face selfie. We're going to have you guys rate it here. This is far more important than 9/11 truth. Is my own duck face selfie. All right, we're going in for the kill. No, he's going next. He's going next. Oh, the darn cute little girl stole my thunder. They're going to win now. What the hell? There's adorable little girls. All right, we're not going to film that, but of course they're going to win the duck face selfie championships. Of course I'm not. Damn it. They stole my thunder. I still might have a chance, guys. We're lining up for selfies, guys. And people are saying, what are we doing? Of course we're lining up for selfies in the rain. Let's go. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll come back for the duck face selfies, but I guess we're going to have to audit Scientology first. I mean, let's see if they have my room available, right? Last time it wasn't available. No, but thank you. Over there, 'cause the Yanks are coming, the drum pumping everywhere. Over there, well, 'cause the Yanks are coming. All right, let's see if I can. Elron finally returned. Oh yes, RHTVLive. Thank you so much, brother. If you're just joining, this channel is not about Fashion Week or duck face selfies, although it could be, and it would be way more fun. Fortunately, this channel is about thinking for yourself. That's right. I don't want you to believe anything I said. I want you to think for yourself. I want you to keep an open but skeptical mind. We're out here. We get right the motherfucking Matrix. Hashtag get right the Matrix. We're going back to my New York City headquarters. One of the last times I was here, I don't know if it was last time or not, the Scientology guy called the police, then claimed I assaulted him. So, I think it's about time for a follow-up. What do you guys think? Maybe a second opinion? I saw her. All right, we're going to the Church of Scientology. I'm back, guys. I'm back. I'm back, guys. This is my church. I am the reincarnation of L. Ron Hubbard. Hey, brother, what's going? Recognize me? Guess? The reincarnation of L. Ron Hubbard? Why am I bugging?
I got that book.
Well, I've actually been to many Scientology areas throughout this country, respectfully, sir. And
they tried to recruit me for 2 years after talking to one of you guys in Florida. They tried to recruit me for 2 years.
Interesting.
That's pretty sad.
I think you're not taking me serious. L. Ron Hubbard.
It's pretty sad to see that people believe in an alien, and this guy that invents some kind of story that the alien is some god or whatever, Oh my God, people believe anything, right? Anything. These Scientology churches are bad, right? We do not need a church of Scientology. God is too big for religion. So we got some other news that we can touch upon. There's an earthquake in Papua New Guinea, and let's see if we can put that in beeld. Of we dat in beeld kunnen zetten, Papua Guinea. So 7.6 earthquake jolts Papua New Guinea. Let's see, and let's pray for these people. Where's the sound? No sound. A lot of damage going on. And let's pray that the people of Papua New Guinea will be at least safe and sheltered. Let's see.
Ayo. Ayo. Honestly, look. 5 stability. Ayo, you look at my can.
So this is what's happening in Papua New Guinea. Let's put that on the map. Papua New Guinea. Here we have Papua New Guinea. And yeah, we're praying for the people that they can, live through this, even though there are tough times over there. But that's what's happening now. We're also taking a look at history. 9/11 is on our radar, and we will never believe what the government tells us, right? I think this is more practical, what you just saw, the connections and all that. I think that's more realistic than what the government tells us, right? So, very, very sad to see that countries must be intervened even though they have nothing to do with 9/11, right? Such as Afghanistan. There were no 20 hijackers. None of them came from Afghanistan. There were some people from Saudi Arabia involved in high places, and there was also an Egyptian involved. But let's take a look at what happened in history, right? During 1993, the World Trade Center bombing, Ahmad Salam FBI recordings, right? So this was a patsy, Ahmad Salam. He was used by the FBI to plant a bomb within the World Trade Center. This happened in 1993. And after the bombing, he called his FBI handler and he talked about it. He talked about what transpired, So we're going to take a look at this video here. But first I have to put off.
Salem goes back undercover as a supposed bomb maker for the Blind Sheikh's terror cell. In this surveillance video, Salem and members of the cell are mixing materials for bombs.
Abu Halima will be killed and hidden and gone forever, and you will never know about him that he ever went to Egypt. Will be off the record. And then you have the greatest suspect is gone and lost forever. And you will keep looking for him for the rest of your life. See how much that will cost you. But because you get aware that he's there and you requested him, Egypt stopped it immediately.
Now, even the last 3 weeks is going to be a nice payment. I'm just telling you for the future and what the expenses, they just don't want to buy in on $500 of expenses. That's all. We're just going to have to give me the, some of the expenses, and they'll pay what operationally they are allowed to pay.
Let me think about it.
Don't think it. There's nothing to think about.
Of course I have to think about it. I mean, I have...
And then later on, there's bonuses and things of that nature. The only thing I'm telling you different than from before is that it's not a salary.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm telling you that is different than what we were doing anyway.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, let him to go recruit Ahmad Abdu, or let him to go talk to Ahmad Abdul Sattar. Ahmad Sattar is a good subject. He can really give you a big help.
Yeah.
Let him really to give you a big help.
He doesn't understand.
Well, he have to understand. He is the boss. We all running our heads around this boss. So he gotta understand this point.
But basically nothing has changed. I'm just telling you for my own sake.
Yeah.
That nothing, that this isn't a salary, but it's, you know, but you got paid regularly for good information. I mean, the expenses were a little bit out of the ordinary, and it was really questioned. Don't tell Nancy I told you this.
Well, I have to tell her, of course.
Well, then if you have to, you have to.
Yeah, because, I mean, the lady was being honest, and I was being honest, and everything was submitted with a receipt.
Yeah.
And now it's questionable.
It's not questionable. It's like a little out of ordinary.
Okay.
You know.
All right. I don't think it was. If that's what you think, guys, fine. But I don't think that, because we was start already building the bomb, which is went off in the World Trade Center. It was built by supervision from the Bureau and the TA, and we was all informed about it, and we know that the bomb started to be built. By who? By your confidential informant. What a wonderful, great case. And then he put his head in the sand and said, oh, no, that's not true. He is son of a bitch.
So basically, they used a proxy, right, to attack the World Trade Center. And they succeeded. They succeeded in this program. All right. So there you have your other enemy. Communism has fallen. Right? We need a new enemy. So, you know, and that would be terrorism. The proxies are already made in Afghanistan and other places within the Middle East, right? We have ISIS, which is a proxy of Al-Qaeda, which actually grew after 9/11, right? There were like 100 Al-Qaeda fighters in Afghanistan. And after the intervention, this is what Zbigniew Brzezinski proclaimed, there were more fighters joining the Taliban and other proxies, such as Al-Qaeda, which eventually became ISIS, right? And there were also branches that came from ISIS, such as Debat al-Shamia, which we supported. The Netherlands supported that. I'm going to show you guys that. Dit is dan weer een afstammeling van ISIS, wat een afstammeling is van Al-Qaeda. Ja, we zien het alleen maar groter worden. Ja. Dus, ja, ik verzin het niet. En wij als Nederland gaven de steun aan Debat al-Shamia, die door het Openbaar Ministerie wordt omschreven als een criminele organisatie met terroristisch oogmerk. Ja. Dus dat hebben wij gesteund om Syrië omver te werpen. We supported this to overthrow the Syrian government, an offshoot from ISIS, right? Which is an offshoot from Al-Qaeda, which is an offshoot from the Mujahideen, which Zbigniew Brzezinski made, right? So this is what's happening, people. And the world is not any more safe than it used to be. You know, everyone is a terrorist now. And even the Dutch farmers are being targeted and stuff like that. Even though our government supports real terrorists, real people chopping off heads and stuff like that, it's amazing. Really is amazing. So for 25 million euros, people were supporting the proxies trying to overthrow Syria. Even kijken, we hebben weer een bericht. Even kijken wat dit is. We have another message. So, we gaan even kijken naar wat Bastoen ons stuurt. Ja, Bastoen die ging geregeld live. Maar er geen tijd voor. Gezinssituatie. Dus we gaan even hier naar kijken. Wat zal dit zijn? De bubbels zijn doorgeprikt. Historische financiële crash is niet meer te vermijden. Ja. So this is about the financial crisis within Europe. And I believe it's in Dutch. We're going to put on some subtitles. Hij heeft het over de perfecte storm. Die komt eraan. En ja, we gaan toch even het geluid aanzetten.
Wij zeggen sowieso dat je een deel van je beleggingsportefeuille in goud moet investeren. En ook in bitcoin. Waarom? Omdat goud en bitcoin buiten het systeem staan. Buiten het fiat money systeem. Buiten de valuta's, et cetera. Ja. Ik denk dus dat...
Ja, ik denk dat ik een echo heb. Dus moet de microfoon even uit.
Het geld is er niet meer dat in eerste instantie het goud ook een dip naar beneden zal maken. Ja. Alleen denk ik dat we op een gegeven ogenblik een situatie krijgen dat mensen het vertrouwen gewoon verliezen in het systeem. En ik denk dat dan het goud en ook bitcoin naar boven komen. Ja. Ik denk dus wat je nu ook met bitcoin ziet, een flinke dip gemaakt, dat heel veel toch op basis van krediet is gekocht. Ja. En dan, dus als je een kredietimplosie krijgt, ja, dan gaan die ook mee. Alleen denk ik niet zo hard als de rest. Ja. Ik zeggen. Dat is niet zo in gesprek.
Dat is allemaal financieel speculatie en ja, moeilijk om dat te zeggen. Ja, als we daar dieper op ingaan, de geschiedenis weten van het monetair beleid, haal ik even Alexander Hamilton en Thomas Jefferson naar voren. Hamilton die zei van de staten, die moeten in schuld zijn om de federale staat geld te geven, zodat een handelspositie is, vraag en aanbod. Nou, Jefferson die dacht er heel anders over. Nou, ook heel erg interessant om dat te gaan bekijken. We kunnen dat opzoeken. Ja, dat wijkt erg af van 9/11. Dan kijken we dus naar het financiële systeem. En ja, dat speelt natuurlijk ook parten. Want er werd gespeculeerd met Russische aandelen. Project Hammer. En ze hebben Rusland laten vallen. En de speculaties, de aandeel van de speculaties, die werd dus bekeken in New York en ook Washington DC, naar de Pentagon. Daar werd dus gekeken naar de vermiste triljoenen. Ja. Dus onvoorstelbaar. Maar dit gebeurt allemaal. En als we nou naar recente gebeurtenissen kijken, if we look at recent things going on, we see that Russia and China are having a drill. Russia, China drill. There we go. Russia and China to hold joint military drills.
So Russia is going to hold military drills involving China. It starts Thursday. The event is called the Vostok exercises. Russia's defense ministry says the drills will be held in Russia's Far East and in the Sea of Japan.
In Russia's Far East and the Sea of Japan. Now, where may that be? This is the part here where they're basically training to eventually intervene in Taiwan. So they're training right here, the Sea of here, this sea here. Sea of, I'm going to rate this. Hotsk. Oh well, the training over there, and Japan is not happy with that, and China is happy with that because they want to take over Taiwan, right? So this is also an aftershock of 9/11, right? So what happened? Russia said, Mr. Obama, do not intervene in Libya. Don't do that. Do not do that. You know, do not do that. So what happened? Obama intervened in Libya. And Russia warned Obama again after he set up proxies in Syria to overthrow Syria, right? Debat al-Shamia. So these are the after effects of 9/11. And this is what's happening. This is what's going on, right? And basically, it's in the fridge right now. It's set in the fridge. And now the focus is on Ukraine, right? So these are the aftershocks of 9/11. We must never, ever forget what happened during 9/11. We must never let it go because we need the truth. We need the truth. What really happened during 9/11? Can you tell me? So we're going to take a look at Will, who's confronting the cops.
So if you need assistance, saying your bosses,
I like this guy's been pretty cool. This guy's been very reasonable. I like that guy.
Oh, natuurlijk echo.
$45 also on Gematria. That's my sperm count. In case anybody's wondering. I know you were in the back. Okay. No, we're good. Let's go. Let's go.
9/11, you can ask us.
All right, I'm gonna get out of the way. Let's make sure we're not blocking any spaces.
Yeah, that's the problem. We're just gonna hop on the subway.
Subway right there?
Yep.
Whew, you can't walk in New York City without police approaching you. Hey, man. I just want to let you know.
I've seen your YouTubes.
Oh, thanks, man. I just want to let you know. I didn't want to say, hey, did your mom name you that? But it's very disrespectful when the people that you work for, you're like, it's right here. I've heard that 1,000 times. It's very easy to just say your name. If you protect and serve with pride, you should just be able to say what your name is. I understand that, but you also understand there's a large number. You enjoy your walk of shame. Walk of shame.
I feel hurt.
Well, the thing.
They assume everyone can read.
Oh, wait, are people being detained now? What's this guy doing? Well, are we being detained? Hold on, excuse me, sir.
No, ticketed passengers only.
Okay.
So you have a ticket, if you don't have a ticket, you can't go through.
I was here the other day and they didn't enforce it. Okay.
You can videotape that sign while you're at it too.
Okay.
Because I know you can't read, so just videotape.
That was a very clever comeback, sir.
Okay, so it's okay.
Sir, you
got my name already.
Sir, you realize there are people that are neurodiverse. Yo.
Nothing wrong with the building? Thank you, guys. If you want to step aside.
You look pretty happy about yourself. Of course. Why? You look very happy. Nice mustache, man. And I don't mean that with any sarcasm. It's actually dead serious. That's a smart ass mustache. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, man. I'm working on the beard. I have a baby face, so I gotta compensate.
If anybody in danger, if you in danger, say help. So why do we have all these officers here if there's nobody in danger? Did anybody call them? Because you guys protect and serve, but nobody's in danger, as I just announced. Nobody didn't say in danger. So why your presence is here? It could be something going on right now, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
This is crazy. Army of Port Authority Police. I gotta get a thumbnail here. Everyone give me a mean face for my thumbnail.
EMS ready for what?
Flex up.
We're not doing anything.
Excuse me for 1 sec. May I talk for 1 second, guys? May I talk for 1 second?
No, I get it. You see a bunch of diverse people who joining together as one, and now it's a problem. That's what it is. United we stand by.
You see, the problem in America is that because of synthetic terrorism, right, we just exposed this. We exposed this with Zbigniew Brzezinski sponsoring the Mujahideen, right? We exposed this with Ahmad Salam talking about the bombs going off, with his FBI handler. We exposed this. And the problem is that the police are militarized, right? They're militarized. They have equipment that can attack other countries. And I know that the Pentagon is feeding this, all this crap, which police officers do not really need, even though there are states in the US where the violence is increasing because people have no guns. So we know what's going on in the world, and we know that the US is a totalitarian state now, right? The cops used to have blue, you know, they were wearing blue. And now look at their uniform, it's almost black, right? So America is becoming more totalitarian. There's nothing going on. And look at all these cops here. You are not living in a free country anymore, right? You are not living the American dream. The American dream has been taken away by globalists like Zbigniew Brzezinski, which we just showed. Zbigniew Brzezinski, right, the major planner of Afghanistan, the overthrow of the Russians in Afghanistan. And you don't want to know what happened after that, right? Well, I'll tell you. The Mujahideen fell apart. You had three factions, right? The Northern Alliance, which is in alliance with Tajikistan. Used to be with Pakistan, but now it's Tajikistan. And, they're still there, even though it's a small group, because the Taliban took power in Afghanistan. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that the U.S. just left by after 20 years. So the U.S. has become an empire instead of a republic. You can do an analogy of Star Wars, right? Started off as an empire and it became a republic. Now, how did it become a republic? How did it happen? Well, Palpatine, right, key player within the Star Wars franchise, Palpatine actually had trade borders, right? And he attacked these trade borders and blamed it on the opposition, which gave him more power. So we're going to take a look at this here. And
Camry, thank you very much for being played, sir. Thank you. Godspeed. I can tell. Whenever someone has an awesome mustache, they're going to be the good one. And this guy's awesome too. Thank you for your good service, sir. How's it going, brother? All right, well, we made it out of that one alive. Again, we're going on the subway, so if I lose service, we will go live again when I get to ground zero. Oh my God, the door's open. Yo, hurry up a little bit, guys. We gotta catch that door. We have to catch that door. It's the fakest Michael that ever lived, guys. It's the fakest Mike. There's never been a more Michael. Never been a more faker Mike, ever. Come on, let's go. Not you. No, just kidding. Let's go, everyone go. Yo, hurry up, get your ass over here. You are under arrest. No, just kidding. I'm just like... Oh, never. I'd rather be tortured. I don't think we've... want to thank you for giving me the best of my life. Yay! Subscribe to Fake Mike Real News. You get karaoke. You get serenade. Nice glasses, by the way, man. And sneakers. You're pimping it, man. And the phone, too. This guy's killing it. I don't think we ain't gonna make that. This is not gonna work. Oh, damn! American Ninja Warrior out this bitch. Shit.
I kicked your shoes again, Mike.
I don't care. These are dusty. Zach! Let's go! Hurry up, Zachary. Introducing the Ghost Face Killer! That's my pancreas!
Oh my God!
I had it taken out last week.
I ain't got
no I'm just kidding. It didn't hurt me at all. See that?
I ain't got
That's
no
4
money.
inches of power.
They took all my money, the government. I have no money.
Oh, you got me back. Oh, shit, damn. All right, my baby mama's coming about 15 minutes.
You're a pro, Mike. You're a pro.
You are adorable. I love your curls. And thanks for coming out. Oh, what you got? Let's see. Oh, let's go. Flight 77 took off. Ended up at the 77-foot tall Pentagon after, holy shit, holy smokes, off 77 minutes. Hashtag Lauren Gematria. Find Gematria Effect the News on all platforms. Who's tuning in and where from? Put your social security number and credit card number in the chat if you want me to go live again after this. Yeah, it was. But it got us utilized. Now all I have to do is kill you guys and have unlimited adrenochrome. I just killed this stream by all this stuff I'm talking right now. And I'm trying not to swear because we have children here. So, Facebook name, you can find that on my link. It's Will Turbot, it's my government. Will Turbot, aka L. Ron Hubbard. Tommy, I knew that was your number.
Ja mensen, hij gaat onder de grond en de livestream blijft hangen. Kunnen we ook niet veel aan doen. Ja, hij gaat naar Lower Manhattan, waar je dus de 9/11 Memorial hebt. Even kijken of we dat kunnen vinden. 9/11 Memorial.
Hey, what's up guys? Long Island Audit here, back again with another video. Today we are at the City Hall here in Pooler, Georgia. We are here today to peacefully exercise our First Amendment right to film in public and publicly accessible areas, to promote transparency and accountability within our government, and to ensure that our public servants respect our rights and treat us with respect. Let's get into it. Under Georgia law, there is no liability for an injury or death of an individual entering these premises if such injury or death results from the inherent.
Yeah. So he's going to the 9/11 Memorial. Where was that here? He's going towards this place. I guess. So we'll see when we have connection with Will Turbot. Even kijken. Take Mike. Films. The reincarnation of L. Ron Hubbard, which is what he calls himself. So we're keeping track of what's happening with Will Turbot. And yeah, we just saw one of his live videos. And I believe we've said enough. Volgens mij hebben we weer genoeg gezegd, mensen. Ja, we hebben het over allerlei aspecten gehad. Hè? Dus operatie Gladio, operatie Northwoods. We hebben de Universiteit van Alaska aangehaald en met hun conclusies. We hebben nog over Rusland gepraat. We hebben nog over referendum gesproken. De Krim en dan ook nog een vergelijking met de referendum in Spanje. Dus we hebben heel veel onderwerpen op tafel gelegd. Ja, in de hoop dat men er hier iets van leert. We hebben maar één uitbol. En ja, het is natuurlijk niet goed om proxies te gaan steunen, om andere landen omver te werpen. We zien het in de jaren 80 ook in Zuid-Amerika en Midden-Amerika, Guatemala, Nicaragua. En daar zo, er werd de cocaïne verhandeld. En dat ging uiteindelijk naar Florida toe. En ja, ze zeggen dat Mohammed Atta daar ook in verbonden was. En dat wat we weten over Mohammed Atta is dat hij... we know about Mohammed Atta that he left the base in Saudi Arabia and went through Europe to Germany and England, and then he flew over to the US. And how do we know this? Able Danger, the documents which were destroyed during 9/11. Able Danger. They were tracking Mohammed Atta. Right? Colonel Anthony Schaefer and those four others, Able Danger, had identified two of the three Al Qaeda cells active in the September 11 attacks. The Brooklyn cell linked to Blind Sheikh Omar Abdel Rahman, including leader Mohammed Atta, and three of the pilots, other 19 hijackers. So there you go. Able Danger. These were destroyed after 9/11, these documents, because they were not allowed to come out. They're covering up a bigger thing, you know. And after 21 years, we still do not have the full story of what happened during 9/11. This is the basic theme, right, that we are looking at. What really happened during 9/11? What happened to WTC 6? Right, big hole in WTC 6 before there were any planes. What happened there? What happened to the rest of the complex? And who profited from 9/11? Whoever profited from 9/11 must go to jail, right? We're still looking for answers. You know, you're not telling me that Osama bin Laden was in Pakistan, right? In Abbottabad, Pakistan. Let's see. So, there. I wrote it wrong. Verkeerd geschreven. Maar je gaat me niet vertellen dat Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad zat bij een militair basis en men wist er niet vanaf. You know, he was at a military base all this time and people didn't know. The most wanted man within the whole world. Now, does this mean that Pakistan is supporting terrorism? We don't know. We do know that they were highly involved within the Afghan participation during the Taliban regime, right? We do know about that. The Pakistan had a coalition with the Northern Alliance, which was attacking the Taliban, you know. So we know about that. We know what's happening in the world, and we're still looking for answers. But the whole full story, we'll never know about that. It is us to question what's happening in the world. You know, it's upon us. So I just gave you some geopolitics, right? Afghanistan, Pakistan. We talked a bit about India. We talked about Iraq and Syria. They were trying to overthrow Syria. And we talked about Libya and other African countries. So this is 2 hours of geopolitics. And I guess we're done. And yeah, know what's happening around the world, you know what's happening in the United States, in your own country. This is very, very important stuff that we're discussing on table, right? You're not telling me that, Osama bin Laden was hiding out there. You're not telling me that. Bull crap. We deserve better. We deserve answers. Not only for the American people that lost lives during 9/11, but also for the Iraqi people, for the Afghan people, right? For the people in Libya, for the people in Syria. These are very serious issues on the table. And we also involved Russia within the geopolitical sphere, right? And Russia was defending Syria because they have a base over there. That's the only foreign base they have. And NATO is expanding everywhere. And let's blame Russia for this. Let's blame Russia for that. It's not fair. Not fair. But who said life is fair? Ja, mensen, we gaan er weer vandoor. We're going to quit 2 hours. It's been long enough. So, goodbye. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Don't forget to hit the like button. And we'll see each other another time.